All right, what's up everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Strength Classroom. Once again, continuing with my how-to series, and this is going to be about the dip, the weighted dip, tricep dip, chest dip, whatever you want to call it. I'm just calling it the dip, and that's what I call it. So, the dip, in my honest opinion, one can make the argument that it is a better hypertrophy and strength exercise than the flat barbell bench press. Okay, now let's go to how-to, because a lot of people screw this movement up. Number one, I'm just gonna say, do not tinker around with trying to put extra stress on your triceps. A lot of people do that and they stay upright and their forearm is perpendicular and they're not getting more tricep work. To me, they're trying to turn it into an isolation movement by getting more triceps, which they aren't. They're basically just taking the stress off their chest and internally rotating their shoulders more. Which brings me to my next point. If you do not have the appropriate mobility for a weighted dip, work on that first before you even attempt one body weight dip. If you can only move your arm back this much, you have no business doing any pushing movement, let alone a dip. Okay? So that's step number one. Address your shoulder mobility. Step number two, when you are doing a dip, or really any exercise for that matter, you aren't just dropping down with the weight, which I see a lot of people do. They're just like, what I like to think when I'm going down on a dip, weighted or body weight, that I am doing a barbell row. So I am bringing the dip bars up to my body, contracting my back, opening up my chest, and slightly contracting my biceps, just slightly. Letting the bicep fall onto the forearm. And as I'm coming up, reverse. Simple as that. Now also, what I see people do is, number one, they try and remain too upright. And when they remain upright, it shifts their feet backwards. Now when you shift your feet backwards, you let your torso drift too far, like under kind of thing. So that creates even more internal rotation of the shoulder, which then someone's gonna get hurt, or not like the exercise, and then complain dips are bad. Well, no, because you did it like a jackass. That's why it's bad. Not because the exercise is bad, because you performed it terribly. So what I like to imagine, as I'm coming up, I actually kind of contract my abs and push my feet forward a little bit. On a body weight dip, this is kind of hard to do, but on a weighted dip where the weight is right in front of your knees, I like putting the weight sideways on my knees, so it actually gives me something to slightly push up against. And this keeps me in line throughout the whole motion. So when you're too upright, you're kind of turning off your core muscles and just turning this into just a pushing exercise, which is a shame, because the benefit this has over a barbell bench press or an incline bench or whatever is that it activates the core more. So another mistake is that, like I said earlier, when you're trying to hit the triceps, people keep their elbow perpendicular to the floor the whole way. And now, you don't want to turn it into a vertical skull crusher where you're just bending your elbows. I know a video I saw where some idiot says to do that. Not going to say who. What I like to do is just slightly move backwards as I'm doing all those other cues I mentioned, and then reverse. If I keep my forearm too perpendicular, I just feel it too much in like the origin or insertion, I don't know, of my front delt. And that's not where I want to hit. I'll just do front raises if I want to hit that area. Number one, if your shoulder mobility lacks, address that first. Number two, don't try and turn this into a tricep isolation exercise. That's why I hate when people call these tricep dips. No, it's called the weighted dip. As you are going down, you want to pretend you're doing a barbell row. Make sure you're contracting the back side of your body or your pulling muscles. So slightly contract your biceps, slightly contract a lot of your upper and mid back and lats, and then reverse on the way up. Don't just let your feet swing all over the place. Contract your abs, and as you're coming up, just to keep your body stable, kick your feet forward just ever so slightly so you don't tip and move all over the place. The more stable your dip is, the more powerful it is, and the more strength and size that you build in the long run. If you like this video, please click that like button. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Share the videos with your friends if you think they'll like them as well. If you have a question for me, please drop them in the comments. And as always, class is dismissed.